Hi, this is Mrs. Criswell with Lineage Society Genealogy, and I'm going to show you how to fill out a lineage sheet or a pedigree worksheet, as it's often called. You may have seen a couple different versions of this, but this is one that I created so that I could have a fillable PDF and it could serve as my working draft as I put all the generations down on paper, but before I wrote them into the formal application for the Lineage Society of my choice. And if this looks like something that would be helpful to you, please feel free to download it for free. It's on my website under Tools and Resources, the Tools and Resources section. And I'm going to blow this up so you can see it a little easier. There we go. So I'm going to show you how to properly fill this out. Using something like this and filling it out properly will be a big help as you move through research for multiple generations. So here is where you put the number of the generation that you're going to be working on. You are generation 1, your parents are generation 2, your grandparents are generation 3, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to just say, for example, we are on generation 4. The husband or father's name is John Smith. And let's say his wife, or the mother's name, is Mary Jones. The husband or the father always goes at the top, followed by the wife or the mother. These are your vital events. So this is born on a certain date, at a certain place, died on a certain date, at a certain place. Same for marriage. And then you're going to fill out the same types of information for Mary Jones. It doesn't matter whether you are going through the father's lineage or the mother's lineage, you're going to want vital events for both the father and the mother. So born on a particular day, let's say that's March 14th, 1889. This might look like an odd way to write a date, but what you really want to do is avoid using dashes or slashes. So you want to avoid doing this. And mainly that's because it can be confusing. Just the conventional, the internationally accepted version is to write the 2-digit day followed by 4-letter month and 4-digit year. I decide to use all capitals so that I don't have an uppercase and lowercase confusion of any kind. So for example, sometimes a lower L can look like an uppercase I, and so I just want to be abundantly clear as to what I'm talking about. So I'm going to say 14-MAR 1889. The documentation I have. In this box, I'm going to write what piece of documentation I have that shows that John Smith was born on this date. So a leaf on Ancestry, unfortunately, doesn't count as documentation. I have to have either an obituary, a birth certificate, Bible record, something that was written that shows this date. So I'm going to pretend here that I have a death certificate for John Smith that shows that birth date. So I'm going to put that here. Don't worry too much about citations on this. Really what you're trying to do is identify what vital events you can prove and then what specific documents you'll need to include for this generation. And some documents will actually show you multiple locations and dates for vital events. And so it saves you from having to put more documentation into your application than you really need to. So the death certificate could show you the birth date. And then let's say the birthplace is Hastings, Adams County, Nebraska. City and town followed by a county, followed by the state, is considered a full place name. Some lineage societies will count the county and the state as a full place name. You'll want to check with the lineage society that you're applying to see what they consider as a full location. Keep in mind that if you're putting down the city or the town followed by the county, You want to make sure that you're putting the county as it was in 1889. So if Hastings, let's just say, is currently in Adams County, but in 1889 it was Smith County. Well, I'm going to need to put Smith County here because that's where he was actually born in 1889. So just keep that in mind. And again, let's just say Smith death certificate is where I have this. You're going to go through the same exercise for John Smith's death as well as his marriage. Most lineage societies that I'm aware of don't require you to prove marriage, but it's always a great idea and it's highly encouraged, especially if you have problems proving some of the vital events. If you have some holes here in this information, the marriage can really help with that. And you're going to fill out this the same way for Mary Jones. When you're finished with that, you're going to move on to the next generation, so generation 5. Unlike an ancestry chart, pedigree or lineage sheets are goal-based. So you're trying to prove lineage through a single line. So we're going to go next through either the husband or father or the mother. And let's say in this example, we're going through the father. So we have Paul Smith. Let's say that's John Smith's father. Nancy Martin, his mother. Now here in the generation links box, this is critical because we need to prove that John Smith is the child of Paul Smith and Nancy Martin. So for this generation link, we could get this information from a variety of sources. It just depends on what we have, what's available, what we've researched so far. And to just keep this really simple, let's say that John Smith's death certificate has this information. So his death certificate actually says Paul Smith is his father and Nancy Martin is his mother. And so then we're going to go through this exact same exercise with Paul and Nancy, and we're going to keep working our way until we get to the qualifying individual. And if this seems a little overwhelming, it's a lot of information, but don't worry. The best way to get started is start with yourself, generation 1, keep moving forward, fill in all your names, and then fill in the locations and the dates. Doesn't matter where you got it from, just fill in what you have, whether it's from Ancestry or Family Search or a family group sheet, just put it in there. Then you take a critical look at your documentation and you say, do I have documentation that supports this date? And if the answer is yes, write it in. If the answer is no, then change your vital event information so that it reflects what you can actually prove. And then when you're done with all of that, you have a much better idea as to how to move forward with your research. You'll see where are the holes, what information do I need, what this lineage society requires. And it's a much more focused approach. It'll save you a lot of time because remember, you're going through multiple generations. So anything that you can do to make the process more efficient, highly recommended. If this was helpful, you can download this for free. Again, I like the fact that it's a fillable PDF. So just go to my website and go to the Tools and Resources section, and you'll be able to download that for free. If you like this video, please like or subscribe. I'll be doing many more of these, and thanks for watching.